My mom favored my toxic stepsister, Chloe, who stole and lied, eventually kicking me out at 20. I rebuilt my life, met Ethan, and got engaged. Mom recently apologized after Chloe's arrest, but I'm focusing on my future, healing, and our upcoming wedding. I've been sitting on this for a while, and I don't know where else to put it. This is long, messy, and raw, but I need to get it out. I'm not looking for pity, just a place to unpack the weight of the last few years. I'm 27 now, and I'm engaged to the most incredible person, but the road to get here was a nightmare, mostly because of my mom and my stepsister. I'll try to keep this coherent, but honestly, it's hard to sum up years of hurt without rambling. I grew up with just my mom. My dad passed when I was 6, car accident, drunk driver. It was rough, but Mom and I were a team. She worked 2 jobs, I helped around the house, and we made it work. She was my rock, always telling me I was her little warrior. I believed we'd always have each other's backs. That changed when I was 16, and she met Greg. Greg was fine, I guess. Quiet, kind of awkward, but he treated Mom decently, which was all I cared about. He had a daughter, Chloe, who was a year younger than me. Chloe was intense. She'd been through a lot. Her mom had walked out when she was little, and Greg raised her alone. I tried to be empathetic, you know. I figured we could bond over being a little broken. But Chloe didn't want a sister. She wanted a punching bag. At first it was small stuff. She'd borrow my clothes without asking, then ruin them. Stains, rips, you name it. She'd make snide comments about how I wasn't girly enough or how I was too boring because I liked reading instead of partying. I let it slide, thinking she'd warm up, but it got worse. She'd spread rumors at school, tell people I was stuck up or weird. Once, she told everyone I hooked up with a guy I'd never even spoken to. I was mortified. I'd come home crying, and Mom would say, "She's just struggling, sweetie. Be patient." I tried. God, I tried. By the time I was 18, Chloe was a full-on terror. She'd scream at me for touching her stuff, like the TV remote in our living room. She'd lie to Mom and Greg, saying I was mean to her, and they'd believe her every time. Greg would just shrug, but Mom started looking at me differently, like I was the problem. I'd hear her whispering to Greg about how I needed to adjust and make space for Chloe. I was losing my mom, and I didn't know how to stop it. The breaking point came when I was 19, in my first year of college. I was living at home to save money, commuting to a local state school. Chloe was still in high school, failing classes and sneaking out to party. One night, she came home drunk, smashed a lamp, and blamed me. I wasn't even home. I was at the library studying. I came back to Mom screaming at me, saying I was irresponsible and setting a bad example. I showed her my library receipt, time-stamped, proving I wasn't there. She didn't care. She said I should have been home to keep an eye on Chloe. That's when I realized Chloe could do no wrong in her eyes. Things spiraled. Chloe started stealing money from my wallet, small amounts, $10 here, $20 there. I caught her once, and she laughed in my face, saying, "Prove it." I told Mom, and she accused me of being petty. "You're older. You should know better than to fight with her," she said. I started locking my door, but Chloe would pick the lock. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. I begged Mom to talk to her, but she'd just say, "Chloe's had a hard life. You're strong. You can handle it." I wasn't strong. I was breaking. The final straw was the summer before my junior year. I'd been saving for a used car, working part-time at a coffee shop. I kept my cash in a lockbox under my bed. Dumb, I know, but I didn't trust banks yet. One day I came home, and the lockbox was gone. one down $200, every cent I'd saved. Chloe was in the living room, scrolling on her phone, wearing new sneakers and a designer bag. I lost it. I confronted her, and she smirked, saying, "Maybe you misplaced it." I tore into her, screaming that I knew she took it. Mom walked in, saw us fighting, and took Chloe's side. She said I was bullying her, and that I needed to leave if I couldn't get along. I begged Mom to listen. I told her about the stealing, the lies, the years of cruelty. She looked at me like I was a stranger and said, "Chloe needs me more than you do. You're an adult. You can figure it out." I was 20 years old with no car, no savings, and nowhere to go. That night, Mom told me to pack my things and leave by the end of the week. Greg just stood there, silent. I felt like I'd been gutted. I crashed on a friend's couch, a girl from my psych class named Sarah. She was a godsend, letting me stay rent-free until I could sort myself out. I picked up extra shifts at the coffee shop, applied for student loans, and moved into a cheap studio apartment. It was a roach-infested dump, but it was mine. I cut contact with Mom and Chloe. I blocked their numbers, deleted social media, and focused on surviving. It was lonely, but I felt free for the first time in years. College was my lifeline. I threw myself into my studies, psychology, because I wanted to understand why my family fell apart. I graduated with honors, got a job as a caseworker for a nonprofit, and started rebuilding. It wasn't easy. I'd have nightmares about Mom choosing Chloe over me, or I'd see something that reminded me of home and cry in my car. But I kept going. 2 years ago, I met Ethan. He was a volunteer at the nonprofit, helping with our youth outreach program. He's the kind of guy who makes everyone feel seen, quiet but funny, with this knack for knowing when you need a coffee or a bad joke to get through the day. We started as friends, grabbing burgers after work, talking about everything from music to our messed up childhoods. He grew up in foster care, so he got it. The ache of wanting a family that doesn't want you back. We fell hard for each other, and last month he proposed. It was simple, just us at a park we love, with him fumbling the ring box because he was so nervous. I said yes before he even finished asking. I wish I could say that's where the story ends, all tidy and happy. But life's not like that. A few weeks ago, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Mom. She was crying, saying she missed me, that she'd made a mistake. Apparently, Chloe got arrested for shoplifting, and Mom's starting to see her for who she is. Part of me wanted to scream, to tell her she broke me when she chose Chloe over me. But I just felt empty. I told her I needed time and hung up. I haven't called back. I'm not sure I ever will. Ethan says I don't owe her anything, and he's right. But there's this little kid in me who still wants her mom. I hate that part of myself sometimes. I'm working through it in therapy, trying to forgive without forgetting. For now, I'm focusing on Ethan, on the life we're building. We're planning a small wedding next spring, just close friends and his foster mom, who's basically a saint. I'm scared, but I'm also hopeful, and that's something I haven't felt in a long time. If you've read this far, thanks. I don't know what I expect posting this. Maybe just to feel less alone. If you've been through something like this, how do you let go of the hurt? How do you trust again? I'm figuring it out, but it's hard.